really quick. So Lucia, she ate 27 cookies in 4.5 minutes. How many cookies does she eat per minute? What do you do with these two numbers? Yep, divide, that's it. 27 divided by 4.5. 6, I get 6. What's my unit? Children? Cookies per minute. So it's not just cookies, not just minutes, but cookies per minute. That's a unit rate. Rate has 2 units in it. All right. Next one, 931 divided by 12.25 minutes, 76 meters per minute. All right. Number 3. Who has the answer for number 3? $5 for 2.5 pounds of apples. It's a nice and easy one, so I'll go around the room. Logan?
Sorry?
Oh, yeah. Number 3?
Number 3. I gotta calculate that. I didn't do that.
2 what? Yeah, you can do it. What did you, dollars per pound, right? Remember, you need 2 units. So dollars per pound. Those are your 2 units. All right. Yeah, Babak?
4.
4 what?
Miles per minute.
Perfect. All right. So for all of these, I'm going to ask you for what? For what? For 12 what? 2 what? Okay. Number 5. Yep.
8 degrees per day.
8 degrees. Doesn't say Fahrenheit or Celsius, so we'll say Celsius per day. Okay. This one is a little tricky. Okay, Babak, what did you get? 666 divided by 11.1, which gives you?
It gives you 60.
Yep. 60 what?
60 bucks per day.
Per
month.
Month, right. But notice the question says I don't want per month. I want per day. So what am I going to do, George?
So let's say each month is like 30 days, right?
Good.
So 11.1 times 30.
Okay. Or if you know that it's 60 books per month and there's 30 days in a month, I can just divide.
2 each day.
Exactly. So if you divide it by 30, then I will get 2 books per day. Okay. Number 7. He can fill 150 gallon pool with water in 6.25 hours. How many gallons per minute then? All right. So first off, using these two, I'm going to divide first. So 150 divided by 6.25. 150 divided by 6.25. I get 24. What's my unit right here, though?
Hours.
Remember, all the rate has 2 units. All rates have 2 units. 24 what per what? Gallon per hour. Good. Per hour. But now I want to find minutes. Good job. So this one, I'm timesing by 60. There's 60 minutes in an hour. So 24 times 60. 1,440. Wait. No. Divide. I'm still dividing. Sorry. All right. Some of these questions are multiply. Some of these questions are divide. If you're wondering also, how do I know am I multiplying or dividing? Think logically. So 24 divided by 60, 0.4 gallon per minute. Okay, so think logically. If I can fill 24 gallons in 1 hour, then in per minute, which is less time, I should have less gallon. So that's how you know I'm supposed to divide. Okay? Whenever these, you're always only like multiplying or dividing. Multiplying, dividing, multiplying, dividing. You're never adding or subtracting. Okay. Number 8. 204 miles in 8.5 hours. So 204 divided by 8.5. 24 what? Maria? Miles per hour. Right. All right. You guys keep getting the units wrong. Whatever you are dividing, that's your unit. So 204 miles. 8.5 hours. Okay. Now that I want in minutes, what am I going to do? Multiply or divide? Divide. Yeah. 60 minutes in an hour, so divide it. Again, if you can drive 24 miles in an hour, now that I'm going per minute, it means that I should be less. So 0.4 miles per minute. Okay. Jackson made 27 calls in 2.25 hours. Find the unit rate. Okay. Number 9, let's say Nora. 12 calls per hour, right? So this one just asks you to find the unit rate. That's my unit and that's my rate. Right? I didn't have to multiply or divide because I just wanted the in hours. Number 10, Felicia, did you get this one? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I forgot you don't have your binder. My bad. So 1804. Okay, so it's 20, and then this is going to be feet per second. That's my unit right now. But I want to find in minutes. So if I can climb 20 feet per second in terms of minutes, should I multiply or divide by 60? Alan? Multiply, that's right. So this is per second. If I want per minute, which is more time, I'm going to times it. So 20 times 60, 1,200 feet per minute. Okay, so this one was a little tricky, number 10. Okay, because I'm going from the smaller unit to the bigger unit, so I'm multiplying. Okay, 11, Dante. Oh, sorry, did you have the... Oh, this is yesterday's homework. Yeah. So we're just taking up yesterday's homework, last 3 questions left. Dante, can you lead me through this one?
So we're going to do 79 divided by...
Good job. So even though I wrote the 20.8 first, 20.5 first, doesn't mean that number goes on the top. You want laps per hour. So 779 divided by 20.5. And what do you get? It's okay. I did the calculation. 38 what?
38 laps per day.
38 laps per... What was the 20.5?
Oh, 38 laps per hour.
Per hour, right. So how do you calculate per day then?
Times it by 24.
Right. You're going from the the bigger unit to the smaller unit. So are you timesing or dividing by 24? Sorry, you said times, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, because there's 24 hours in a day. So 38 times 24, so 912 laps per day. Okay. And again, if you're still not sure if I should multiply or divide, if I can do 38 laps in 1 hour, so in a day, I should be able to do more. So to do more, you have to multiply. Okay. This one. Okay. I have money, I have hour. Which one goes on the top? Money, yeah, money always comes first, remember? 297 divided by 24.75. 24.75, you get 12. Okay, what's my unit here? 12 what? $12 per hour. Good. Okay, last one. He scored 85 points in 2.5 games. Yep, George?
34 points per game.
Good. So just dividing, so 34 points per game. Okay, and notice here I didn't say games. It's just game because it's per one game. That's what it means. Remember. Okay. So out of these 13, how many of you got at least 10 of these correct? 11, 12, all 13 correct. Okay, good job. Okay, so keep up the good work. Make sure on the test on Tuesday, you are going to get these type of questions where you're going to get like this type of questions where you just simply calculate unit rate. You're also going to get these type of questions where you have to divide by 60 or multiply by 60 to get the rate in a different unit. All right, so make sure you know what to do. Okay. We'll do a review of these again on Friday. Okay, so let's go on to today's lesson on coding. So that was just taking up yesterday's homework. We took 12 minutes on that. Okay. Let's see. Babak, since you are just not doing much, you can hand this out for me, please. Thank you. Just give a few to each row so that you can pass it back. Okay, so again, output is what's displayed at the end after you go through the program. A loop is telling the program to repeat a few steps. Conditional statement is the if and the else. So if this happens, display this. Otherwise, display that. Okay, and then very important, variables. Anyone know what are variables? Yeah. Numbers you don't know, but usually what do we use to represent that?
X or Y.
X or Y. Good job. Okay, so in word problems that you guys have been doing, you guys would always say like, let X be this, let Y be that. But since this is a computer program and we can type, we can actually give it names. So like, for example, let number 1 be this. Let color be blue. Let gender be boy or something like that. So we can have words to represent our variables, our unknown. And the ones that we're going to go through in the examples, these variables or unknowns are bolded. So are unknown. Okay. So for example, let's go over this problem. So set variable 1 equals 17. So this is my variable, my first variable. I can set a second variable. Set number 2 to be 23. If number 1 is greater than number 2, then say 17 is bigger than 23. Otherwise, say 23 is bigger than 17. Right? So when I press the F1 button, my output is gonna tell me a sentence. Right? But be very careful right here. When it says the sentence, it won't say number 1 is bigger than number 2. It will actually tell me the actual number. Okay, so in this case, in this problem right here, this example, will it go through 1 or will it go through 2? You know that number 1 is 17 and number 2 is 23. Will it go through 1 or 2? Yep, 2, because number 2 is bigger than number 1. So what would my output be? What would my output be in a complete sentence? Anyone? Okay, so my sentence is going to be, my output is going to be 23 is bigger than 17. Period. Okay? And again, that's because number 1 and number 2, those are just my variables. I gave it a value. So when my output is my value is going to replace my variable. Okay. So let's try this one then. So same idea, same problem. So George, can you give me number 1? Give me a random number.
7.
7. Logan, can you give me a random number 2?
14.
14. Okay. So given those two numbers, will it go through 1 or will it go through 2?
2.
Yeah. And what would your output be? It will go through 2 because 1 is not greater than 2. That means it has to go through this. So what would my output be? What would my sentence be? Yep.
Number 2 is bigger than 4.
Those are variables. I have values.
14 is bigger than 7.
Yeah, 14 is bigger than 7. Okay. So remember those variables, you're assigning a value at the beginning. So at the end, for the output, it replaces that variable. Okay. Next example. Okay, I'll do this. Next example, I want to calculate the average number of points scored at a volleyball game. So the first question, your computer program is going to ask you how many volleyball games were played this season. And Maria, how many games did you play? 10. Okay, that's a lot. And set total score equals 0. What is total score? What do we call this again? What's the name for this? Ellen? Oh no, your hand wasn't up. But back? Yeah, let's pay attention. Okay, what do we call this total score right here? This is my variable, right? This is my variable. This is my variable. So I'm setting a value to this variable. So I'm going to give it 0 because before you play any games, the score is 0. Make sense? Okay. So now, since I want to know the average for 10 games, I'm going to repeat this for 10 times. So their computer program is going to ask you for the score 10 times. That's why is the our loop right here. Our loop is telling it to repeat. So what is your score? So let's say your first game, you won that set, 21. So you're going to do type 21. And then total score is going to be 0 plus 21. After that, it's going to loop back. As for your second score, let's say my second score is 10. So what happens right here? What happens in this line? Total score equals total score plus answer. what is it going to do? Yeah? Add them together. So 21 plus 10. Okay, it's going to go back to the third. Let's say I lost horribly. I only scored 5. What's going to happen in this line now? Yeah.
31 plus 5.
Perfect. So not 21 plus 10 plus 5. It's already 31. So the new value for total score is 31. So 31 plus 5. And then it's going to loop again, and loop again, and loop again, loop again for 10 times because you said total gains was 10. At the end, it's going to set average, which is another variable, to total score divided by 10. And then it will display output. The average score was, and then the number. Okay. Okay, last example. Last example right here. Determine the unit cost if you purchase 12 chocolate bars for $18.60. So you see how the continuity is right here? We just learned unit cost, and now we're applying that knowledge into coding. So let's say you weren't paying attention today. You have no clue about coding. You hate coding. You don't understand a thing. But if you just look at this question without any of the code, what is my unit cost? How do I calculate this unit cost? We just did a whole page yesterday, Kaden? Yeah, and you get, let's see, 1860 divided by 12, you get $1.55. So what would my output be right here? What would be my output? Okay. Bosco, you want to try giving my output? So when I press that F1, assuming everything works, what would my output be? Okay, yeah.
The unit cost is $1.55.
Good. So the unit cost. So on the test, I might ask you guys this. Is $1.55. Okay. So I could technically not understand anything with coding, but I can still answer the question because I know how to calculate unit costs. But right here, if I write this on the test, I'm going to lose half a mark. What's different between what's written here and what I wrote here? Maria?
I think it's like asking for unit cost and then it's $1.
That's true. I should have 2 units, but based on just this program right here, what's different between this sentence and this sentence? Because remember, this is a computer program that I am basing my output on. Notice the difference. The unit cost is, what do I have extra in here? Yeah? The $sign, that's right. So for once, I'm going to dock mark off you for having unit. And that's because based on this coding, there's no symbol right here. So if I wanted the $sign symbol, I would have had to add this symbol in right here. Otherwise, it would have just read the unit cost is 1.55, like this. Okay, so this is not me being picky, but that's how computer program works. And when you guys get into uni and you're actually typing up these programs in Java, you have to make sure you include all the little details. Otherwise, it won't show up correctly. 1 second. Okay. So last thing, just to go over, so just a quick little recap. So remember, if the if else, if number 1 is greater than number 2, then this happens. Otherwise, this happens. But what about equal? Right? You can have greater than, less than, or equal to. So if that's the case, you will have an extra if else inside an if else. Okay, so and that's because you're comparing two numbers. If you only want to know if it's bigger or less than, then yeah, just one if else is enough. If you want to compare between three numbers, then you'll have two sets of if else. If you want to compare four different numbers, then you'll have a if else, if else, if else. Okay. So quick recap. Okay, this 14 is bigger than 7. What are these called? Yep. Output. Good. Number 1, number 2. What are these called? Yep. Variables. If else. These are what type of functions? Conditional statements. Repeat. Repeat are what type of functions? Loop. Good job. You're really good with this coding stuff. Okay, so for the rest of the class, if you guys can try these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, try doing these 6 coding. I don't need it to be perfect, but I'm testing you guys on the idea. To save paper, I only photocopied this one page for you. But if you go to Contents and then Chapter 2, Coding. Okay, so again, Brightspace, Content, Chapter 2, Coding. You'll see that there are 5 pages. What do you think is on the 5th page? So you have the questions here. What's on the last page? What do you think is so you see this, I photocopied this 4 pages for you. And what's on the last page of this PDF? Answers. Okay, so make sure you go on Brightspace to check your answer to see if you're understanding it correctly. I am going to do a homework check tomorrow, but you have a good half an hour to finish these 6 coding questions. I'll display the answers for the first one here so that you can see if you're doing it correctly. Okay. Rest of it, all the other answers are on Brightspace. Okay, so make sure you check your answer. All right. Any questions on coding?